Our guest tonight is Tony Fleecs. He's a prolific and critically acclaimed comic book creator. His licensed comic book work has sold hundreds of thousands of copies in the United States and has been translated and reprinted all over the world. Tony's creator-owned work includes In My Lifetime, which was published in 2006, one of the funniest books I've read, Jeff Steinberg, Champion of Earth, which came out in 2016, and the forthcoming Time Shopper, and of course Stray Dogs, which came out today. You've seen Tony's art on some of your favorite titles like Star Wars, Avengers, Batman, TMNT, Transformers, and a literal ton of My Little Pony. Let's give a warm Alter Ego Comics welcome to Tony Fleecs.
Hey everybody.
We need to get in.
I feel like we need
applause. We need a sound effect. Yes.
Do it like radio. We'll just clap ourselves.
We'll just what's the thing you do this? Or... Well, Tony, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit tonight, talking about Stray Dogs. Tony's coming to us from sunny California.
It is.
I assume it's sunny.
Yeah, it's sunny today. It's been a little chilly. I mean, we don't really complain out here because our chili is not like everyone else's. But yeah, it's been very nice today. I had to run the AC.
Oh, well, okay, Mr. Big Stuff. Well, Tony and I had actually a chance to meet about a year ago out in Portland, Oregon at the Comics Pro annual conference. And at the time, so this was February of 2020, Stray Dogs was over and done with. Like all five issues were done. You showed all of us there those 5 issues. And now here we are a year later. Issue 1 is coming out. I kind of give us that journey from February of last year to today.
Well, it's been a wild year for sure. Last year we didn't have all 5 done, but we're wrapping up issue 5 right now. So we had a bunch of it done before I went to Comics Pro, and we had enough to like all the way finished that we could make that preview and bring it and show it to retailers and stuff. But yeah, it's been a book we've been working on for over 2 years now. And just because it's creator owned and because we're doing our own thing, we can just sort of sit there and plug away at it until it's almost all finished, and we can just release it. Instead of being stressed about hitting deadlines and stuff, now it's just like we can sort of focus fully on putting the book out and talking to people about it and doing all the stuff that like normally when you're doing like work for hire stuff, you're just too busy to even engage in. So this has worked out pretty well for us. And just as far as like stress goes, we're stressed now and we're finishing issue 5 with, 5 months to go. So I can't imagine if we'd put it out any earlier, it would have been a real nightmare. So, yeah.
Well, for those who haven't picked it up yet, and I'm looking at our list of people in the room, which you can see on the Facebook page, but you can't see if you're just using the link that I sent you. Not a lot of those folks have been in today, so
all right.
Give us the elevator pitch for Stray Dogs.
Yeah, it's the elevator pitch, like the shorthand is we're calling it like Lady and the Tramp meets Silence of the Lambs. Like it looks like a Disney movie or a Don Bluth movie, and it's a story about these dogs who all live together in this house, and it's sort of like this warm, inviting, animated looking adventure, and then something happens and it turns into a horror movie, and that's in the first issue. So we sort of set everything up. You meet all the characters, something doesn't seem 100% right, and by the time you get to the end of the first issue, you're like, oh no, this is we're in danger. You in danger, child.
Yeah, and I also saw you've got a nice pull quote from Brian Michael Bendis on the back.
Yeah.
Who says it's Secret Life of Pets meets 7. So it's like, I think people are just trying to find like a cute animated feature and then cram it with the most horrible horror movie that they can think of.
Yeah. So this one, Secret Life of Pets is a really good comparison too, though, because it is dogs that talk to each other and have their own thing going on when their master's not around. So yeah, that's a good comparison. He's good. Guy's a good writer. What can I say?
Yeah, you could be doing worse than having a pull quote from Bendis on the back of your book. So
yeah.
So I know that this was my wife Angie's pick of the week. It was my pick of the week as well. And neither one of us are dog people. So I think that not that we dislike dogs, we just aren't dog people.
Yeah.
So I have to think that. Let me ask number one: are you a dog person? I think you are, because I saw a picture of your dog in the back here.
Yeah. I'm a dog person. My dog is at the groomer right now. Otherwise, I'd have him come over here and annoy us. But yeah, big time. I didn't used to be, and then I was in a relationship with somebody who had a dog, and I slowly became a dog person, and now I'm a full dog person. So, but that's good news that people that aren't necessarily dog people are feeling the book, because that's sort of what I've been hanging the whole thing on. I'm just like, well, if people like dogs like it, then we're good. If we're crossing over, then even all the better. Yeah,
I think if you're a dog lover, you're going to love it, but it's also probably going to make you feel a little uneasy.
Yeah.
And you'll get the same feeling. I got the same feeling not being a dog lover. Well, let's talk it for as long as you want to talk about. Let me go back a step, because I don't want to get ahead of myself. Before we get to the amazing artwork in here, let's talk about your inspiration for the story.
Yeah. So I was like, where the German, like when I was standing on the toilet trying to hang a clock, and I got the flux capacitor. I was watching TV at my studio, and we were watching Norman Bates Motel, and I left the room, and Norman Bates did not have a dog, and when I came back, he just had this little puppy. And I asked my friends, my studio mates, like, what happened? Did he kill somebody and take their dog? And they were like, no, he did not. And I was just like, well, that's cool though. If he killed somebody and took their dog, that's a neat idea. And then I sort of tumbled it around for a while, and I couldn't quite figure out what would be interesting about that. And I draw My Little Pony is like my full-time job for the last 8 years or so. And I like love animated movies most of my whole life, especially like the ones from the mid to late 90s, just sort of like that 2D animated, like latter Don Bluth, early DreamWorks stuff. And so I had this idea, like, oh, if we did that story but told it from the perspective of the dogs, if we did like a Rover Dangerfield, but instead of a comedian, there's a murderer, then that would be like something that nobody else had seen before, like nobody else has done. And I felt sort of like uniquely equipped to tell that story because of the experience that I have with doing animal comics, like funny animal comics, for so long. And Trish, who drew the book, also comes from My Little Pony. And so both of us sort of have this skill set that we're using for a different thing, And
so, you have done a lot of illustration work over the years. Why aren't you drawing this? And I guess you've already answered this question a little bit, Trish from My Little Pony, but I guess why aren't you drawing it?
I had like a specific vision for it. Like when I thought of it, I was like, I want this to look exactly like a Don Bluth movie. And I couldn't, like, I draw cartoony, but I knew that I wouldn't be able to do that for all 6 issues of this thing. Like I knew I would just eventually, it would look like how I draw, and I wanted it to look like a very specific thing. And Trish draws like that very specific thing. It was just sort of like 20 degrees off from what I do, but it would make the world of difference. Like her art is so specific and alive and animated looking that it's like a very specific thing that I knew I needed. And when I talked to her about it, we knew each other from, there's like this whole ecosystem of My Little Pony conventions. And so I know all these artists who like are incredible, but nobody in comics knows about because they're either like My Little Pony comic artists or fan artists, or it's just this whole different world. And so I knew her from there, and I had seen like one dog that she'd drawn, but I knew she was a big dog person. And so I just basically approached her at one of these things and was like, hey, I've got this story. And I wasn't sure because a lot of My Little Pony people are just like only into My Little Pony, And so I was like, what if she's, like, what if she doesn't care about other stuff? Or, But I asked her first before I talked to anybody else about it, just because I was like, this is the perfect person for this. And she, as soon as I told her, like, I set it up basically the way I pitched the book, where I'll say, like, it's this house full of dogs. They have a great time. Somebody shows up and they don't feel quite right. And then I told her what the twist was, and she was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I'll spend years working on that with you. And it's been great. A lot of newer artists or first time artists, like, a lot of people start projects and then they sort of fall apart because, people aren't, like, can't stick to it, or they flake or whatever, like, life gets in the way. And I was so happy to find Trish, because she's just, like, incredibly professional and collaborative. And then, like, the work, you've seen it. It's incredible. Like, it just looks exactly like what it's supposed to look like.
It does. And I guess I asked that question first about why you didn't draw it, because I didn't want to insult you by gushing how much I love this artwork in here. But so Trish Forstner is the artist on here, and good Lord, folks, it is jaw-droppingly beautiful. It is exactly as Tony said. It is Don Bluth style animation, Disney style animation. And I think that's your words with her pictures just make the complete package with Stray Dogs. And that's what I think comic fans are looking for, something that activates both sides of the brain, and where both the story and the pictures complement each other so well.
Yeah, thanks, man. And Brad Simpson on colors. And we're doing this cool thing with the colors where the backgrounds are all painty and rendered, and then the characters are all just flat colors. So it also sort of mimics that 90s animated style, where they didn't have, like, a shadow layer or anything. It's just, like, flat dogs on detailed backgrounds. I think it's pretty effective.
So just to reiterate for anyone who's just joining us, Stray Dogs is what we're talking about. We're talking with Tony Fleecs about it. And it is definitely a mature reader's book because of the subject matter. So be prepared. It looks like a kid's comic, but it definitely reads like an adult comic.
It doesn't look that way, but the twist, yeah.
Yeah. We call it like it's a teen plus according to Image ratings, but I feel like it's like a PG-13, like it's scary, but it's not like Saw or something, like it's not like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Thank you for I don't know what's coming next, so thank you for the clarification. I didn't want to, like, push it in one direction and then find out, oh, it is Saw by the time we get to issue 2 or issue 3. But
I'll hit you with spoilers after we get off the air.
No, I don't want spoilers. That's one of the things I love about for us Tuesday nights is reading the new releases for Wednesday and being able to share our excitement over awesome comics with our customers and the world at large. So you can't see here, Tony, but we've just had about a half dozen people ask to subscribe to the book and add it to their pull list, thanks to our conversation here today. There's a pattern here that we're seeing. We talked with Stephanie Phillips last week, and she has a book out this week. I had a scheduling issue. Like, I didn't realize I asked you to be a guest before I asked her, not realizing that I FOC'd this like 5 weeks in advance instead of the normal 3 weeks in advance. But Stephanie talked about Nuclear Family, which is out today, which we also highly recommend. Yes, we haven't gotten to that point yet, though. Unless you're out, just go ahead and pull that. Sorry.
That's right.
Here.
That one.
Let's talk about anything else that you may have in the pipeline that you wanna share.
Well, just going back to the rating and the subject matter real quick. That's one of the things that talking to people about the book or pitching it to readers, that is sort of the most, it's not difficult, but it's just like, I don't want to spoil the thing. So the premise of the book is that these dogs are in danger. But then people, love dogs so much that they're just like, well, these dogs aren't in danger, are they? And I'm just like, I don't know how much to tell you. It's not a torture porn with dogs for sure. But it's a horror movie. Like, think of it like it's a horror movie. Think you're watching Scream or whatever. These dogs, they're in a pickle.
Like Law and Order canine unit.
Right, yeah.
And you can insert your own dun dun sound effect with this. So yeah, and I guess that's kind of a hard pitch, knowing that most comic readers today, I've been doing this for about 16 years, and I think our average reader is probably about 30, maybe skewing a little older than that. So, we always want to keep attracting newer readers too, and younger readers too. And I do think that, whether you have a high school student or a college age student, this would be perfectly accessible to them, especially if they're fans of the Don Bluth style animation. If anybody that age knows who Don Bluth is, but Land Before Time, people, if you like the Land Before Time style of animation.
Yeah. And as far as horror goes, like, my nieces are in middle school and they watch like, Stranger Things and It and like all that sort of stuff. So I feel like it's like you could skew a little bit young, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I did. Wait. My bad for bringing it up.
Like, it's one of the things that we had to think about because we did make a thing that looks like it's for children, but it's not for children. So it's definitely like a subject that we've talked about a lot and thought about. But at the end of the day, it's just like, you have to you're going to have to see what happens,
Yeah. Without giving the story away, check it out. So we've got a question from Alex here wanting to know if each issue is going to have a horror movie variant.
Yeah, every issue will have a horror movie variant. You want to see them? Can I share?
Either that or I can hold them up. I have them sitting here. So
I got all of them.
Okay, well, go ahead if you can do that.
Let's see if this works. Share screen.
I'm going to take myself off the screen. See if that.
Here we go. Screen one, share. Yeah, so every issue, am I up? How's it looking? Let's see what Facebook looks like. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so every issue is going to have a horror movie variant, and we've done a bunch of exclusive variants as well. So that's issue 1. That's issue 2. This is issue 3. And then they just solicited issue 4. I'm going to show you guys issue 5, and you just have to keep quiet about it. That's issue 5. If you're like, where are the dogs? They're very small. They're right there. And then these are some of our exclusive covers that we did. These are for issue 1. And we did another one for issue 2. But yeah, we're doing a ton of those horror covers. I wasn't super sold on it right away. Oh, look, my laundry's open. Oh.
It could be worse, man.
It's just like a dead body back there. Like, pay no attention to that. I wasn't super sold on them right away just because I really wanted the book to speak for itself. But when I was talking to Image about it, they've been doing a lot of this type of variant cover lately, and they said, A, it sells well, but B, it's something that sells the concept of it right away because it's such a bizarre concept that, you can say to somebody it's like a cartoon horror movie, but if you show them a Silence of the Lambs poster that has a cartoon dog on it, then they're just like, oh, it's like that. I get it, So that's worked out really well, I think.
Yeah, they are super cool. I appreciate variants when they serve a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm normally not a big fan because it's more skews for us in the retail level. It creates analysis paralysis on the consumer level sometimes. But in this case, it works. And there have been some other examples over the past couple of years. And keeping it to a manageable level makes sense. And, not doing 30 variants for issue number 3.
Yeah.
Probably a mistake. But I think customers are really going to respond to this. If anyone else has any other questions for Tony, please put those in the comments so we can get to you before we wrap up here. Before I forget, I do want to, give a shout out to one of your fellow My Little Pony artists, Tom Zoller. He's a buddy of ours.
Hey.
He's been to the shop more than anybody else. I mean, he's also in Cleveland, so he's only 3 hours away from us. But Tom's been here many, many times over the last 16 years. Good dude.
Do you go to Comic-Con?
I have been. I don't go regularly.
Yeah.
I've been 3 times in the last 15 years.
When you say Tom, it makes me feel like I might have met you with Tom. So
it's possible. I made this deal. First off, my system can't handle going to Comic-Con every year, but I made a deal with my kids. I have 3 boys, and the deal was when they turn 16, I will take them to San Diego Comic-Con. So my oldest are 21 and 19. My next one is 11, so I've got 5 more years before I have to make the return visit.
And I did that to get out of going to Comic Cons.
Oh, the deal. Yeah, she suggested
take
take your boys because she didn't want to go. But
I mean, I don't want one once, but that's not something I want to go to.
By 5 years from now, I feel like it should be okay again. I feel like
I hope so. I hope so. I told my youngest, I'm like, you're going to be pushing me around in a wheelchair. I'm not that old, really. I'm only 47. I mean, you know what it's like, man. And I'm not an exhibitor like you and having to be on, 15 hours a day, 18 hours a day and making deals. And, I can definitely see the value from a creator standpoint of being at San Diego Comic-Con every year.
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. The last few years that it happened, I would just go as a pro and I would do signings and like panels and stuff. But I haven't exhibited there in a while just because it is, like you're saying, like it's all day long, it's exhausting, and then it goes all night too, and you sort of miss out on all that because if you have commissions to do or you have some sort of, you're exhausted from working all day or whatever. This way, you can just sort of go in and do all the fun parts of Comic-Con, still make the connections, meet people, sign stuff, and not have to worry about the rest. It's just a little more expensive because you're not earning money.
Yeah, and I think it's a different experience for everybody, depending on what level you're at. If you're just a fan, it's, go nuts. The first time I went was 2012, and went with a buddy, and he was all for like camping out overnight to get into Hall H. I was like, I'm going back to the room, man. I'm not sleeping on grass and laying on the ground to get into Hall H.
People like pros. I hear people talk about Hall H, like they're just like, it's so crazy they stay out all night. And I just remember, like, I used to go to Star Wars Celebration and stuff. I remember being on the other side and also not living in LA at the time, and what an insane idea it was that I'd be like in the same room as George Lucas or the guy that played Jar Jar or something, just like I could go back to, I lived in South Dakota at the time. I was like, I could go back to South Dakota and tell people that I saw George Lucas, and they would either care or not care, but like they sure didn't see George Lucas, so.
Yeah, it's like, and most everything is going to end up on the internet the next day, but there's something about being there. And yes, I did miss out on Sir Ian McKellen giving out hot chocolate to people in line at 2:00 in the morning. So
pretty good.
That'll teach me next time I don't crash.
Yeah, we got pizza at Star Wars one time from J.J. Abrams. Anthony Daniels came around and hang out in those lines. That stuff is cool. I don't think the line gets enough respect.
Yeah, and you meet a lot of people, and everybody's there for pretty much the same reason, and that's what really I think this industry is all about. We're talking about movies and Star Wars and that sort of thing, but the comic book fan base is very welcoming. It's very open. And I know a lot of people have made lifelong friendships in those lines, waiting to get into whether it's Hall H or in an autograph line for whoever. And it's kind of like a reunion every time you go back to a certain show of catching up with these people that you see once a year.
Yeah.
So, that's, I think, one of the things that we really like about it.
Ernie would like to know how much you paid him.
I put that one up on the screen there. So, in your bio, you mentioned at least one other project. Is that something that you want to talk about, or is it too soon?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got a bunch of other projects.
I'll talk about whatever you want, man.
Yeah, right now, it's crazy just because of the way COVID sort of shook out in quarantine. All my books are sort of coming out at the exact same time. So next month, Stray Dogs #2 comes out, and then I'm also drawing My Little Pony that month. And I'm also drawing Rick and Morty Worlds Apart, which is a miniseries from Oni. First issue came out a couple weeks ago. And so like all these things are sort of crossing over. And so while Stray Dogs is going on, like all of that Rick and Morty will come out, and the Pony arc that I'm drawing will come out. And then I think right after, or maybe when the last issue comes out, I'm doing a story in My Little Pony Transformers 2, which I drew a bunch of the first series, and that did super good. And so they're doing another volume of that. But this one I'm writing and drawing, and I think I'm going to color it myself. So it'll just sort of be like the most organic My Little Pony Transformers story that I could possibly do. You know, it's like I pitched it, and I'm writing. I'm supposed to be writing the script right now, but today's kind of crazy, so I'm not getting anything done besides interviews and refreshing Twitter and checking in on Facebook and seeing people say nice things about me. How am I supposed to do anything when I'm being congratulated all day? It's a good day.
Yeah, you have to live on social media, and that's that's such a thing now that you have to pay attention to it. It's part of the strategy of promoting the book and promoting yourself and building your brand. And so, yeah, it's anybody that basically is a small business owner, and you're totally a small business owner, doing what you do. You have to be aware of that stuff, but it kind of takes away from things like laundry. So
laundry is clean. It's just not folded, is all.
Yeah, some of our viewers were concerned. Alex says the first project next for you is laundry.
That's my next pressing deadline.
So let me ask you about the one that you specifically talked about here. Hold on. This is Time Shopper.
Time Shopper, yeah.
What's
so Time Shopper, before COVID, we were we solicited it. We were going to go through Diamond. And then it just was not it did not go well. It didn't sell great. The publisher had the wrong price on it in Diamond. And so it was solicited for more expensive than it was supposed to be, just a whole bunch of problems. And then during quarantine, we got the rights back from them. We canceled the book. We're going to kickstart it and just do it completely correctly. It's going to be a European format hardcover. It's just a 48-page one-shot comedy book, and it's about a guy that gets hired to go back in time and fix history's greatest disasters. And they give him supplies to go back in time with. They give him some money in case he needs to buy stuff. And as soon as he gets back in time, he just gets so distracted by having all this money that he just goes shopping in time. So it's like a time travel caper about a guy that just cannot stop buying things in the past. So it's basically what I would do if I was given a time machine, whereas I would just immediately go buy Action Comics #1 and then not know what to do next. I don't know, maybe go, I gotta like to see what it looked like when my dad was born, maybe. Who knows, but first things first, I would go buy all the stuff that's too expensive for me to get now.
Yes, and we've all had that fantasy, whether it's Action Comics #1 or Fantastic Four #1 or buying Star Wars figures in 1978. That's what we would all do with a time machine.
Those last 17 Star Wars figures when they were on the clearance rack, and now they're all $150 a piece or something, but they used to be 95 cents. That's where I would go. I'd go right there.
Not where I would go. But
where would you go?
Yeah, where would you go?
I would go back to see some family that's not around anymore.
Oh, come on now. Now we all
Tony
and I look like idiots now.
What about the toys, though?
Selfish idiots.
I would go back to a family vacation when I was a kid. Really, I would.
That would be a good idea too. I feel like I would just be creeping, watching myself and my mom. And
I understand the stuff, though. I do. I get it.
I'm still going back. I'm going to Kenner headquarters. I'm going to Cincinnati.
Get those molds. They're just throwing them away.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So we're going to kickstart that. It's probably going to go up towards the end of Stray Dogs coming out. We were trying to do everything at the same time, but it's just been so overwhelming that we're taking time and putting it together right. But the Kickstarter is going to be cool because people can just get the book, but then we're also doing a thing where there will be a tier where you can get a time shopping bag where it's just stuff that the guy has brought back from time. So there's a Mickey Mantle rookie card, but he's in the background of it because he's accidentally in there. Or we're doing a tier that has an Action Comics #1. So yeah, we're doing all kinds of cool stuff with that, and then weird stuff like we're making a single, we're making pogs, like stuff from the '90s. So it's going to be a neat Kickstarter. I've never done one before, so it might be just a huge failure that we're wasting our time on. But I think people are going to be into it, and we're doing a not a retailer tier, because I always think that is weird, where you can buy the book for like it's $20 for the book, but a retailer can get 3 for $30 or something. But we're doing a partnership with this place that does like direct sales to retailers, or I don't know. We're figuring it out, because I went and talked at Comics Pro to all these retailers about the book, and then now I'm just like, I got this. I'm doing it myself. So we're figuring out a way to
what's the comic?
we're figuring out a way to do it where it's not a complete betrayal.
Yeah, and that's it. It's a tough position to be in. It's so much of the world is direct to consumer now that it does sometimes make retailers feel like redheaded stepchildren, but we're always appreciative if you can loop us in on things like that, and maybe talk to Tom Zoller. I know that Tom's done several Kickstarters for his projects, and he's always made an effort to include retailers in one degree or another. Let's see.
A couple people would like to read that time travel book. So
yeah, so we've got people saying that they're all for it. Nick, it's called Time Shopper. So I guess, Tony, if people want to stay in touch with you on social, what's the best platform and what's your handle?
At Tony Fleecs on Twitter is the best place to get me, but I'm on Instagram too. And if you go to straydogscomic.com, is it comic or the comic? We've got a mailing list. And you can get all the updates that way. See what it is. Stray Dogs Comic, not the comic.
StrayDogsComic.com.
Yeah, that's like the best place to get on that mailing list, and you'll know everything that's coming if you're interested. But if you're already, shop here, just go here. These guys will have my stuff.
Yeah. Anybody that's a guest on our program, we always stock their stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, I want to thank you for spending some time with us on what has, I'm sure, been a very busy day for you. Now, I guess the upside is for you, it's only 4:30 in the afternoon, so you still have a lot of your day left.
I've got one more podcast tonight, and they're not announcing it until tomorrow, but we sold through the first run of the book, so we have to put together a second printing cover tonight, so I have that to do. So, and then also, like I said, checking my socials and being generally distracted. Plus that Jim Lee Artist Edition came out. I feel like I got to spend some time with that. There it is. Truth be told, that's the best book that came out today.
Come on. That wasn't my pick of the week. Stray Dogs.
Pick of the week. But for the under $100 tier, Stray Dogs.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a toss-up, man.
Thank you.
But as I said, I know our viewers, our customers are happy that you could join us tonight. Wish you continued success with Stray Dogs. I know we're all on board for the duration, and we'll figure out some way to support you with Time Shopper, and hopefully we talk again somewhere down the road. Yeah,
absolutely. And if the people at the shop are reading the book and they want to talk more about it, like if we get to an issue where they're like, oh, I got to talk to this guy, just hit me back. I'll come back and we can talk more about it for sure. I'm always available.
Fantastic. Well, Tony, thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. Continued success, and have a great rest of your night.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's okay. You're safe now.
New dog.
New dog.
New dog.
New dog.
New dog.
Hey, dog.
New dog. It's a new dog. No.
Hey, come on. Can't you see she's afraid? There you go. You're okay. See? I'm Rusty. What's your name?
I don't... Sophie.
Wait. Do I know you from somewhere?
I don't remember. I remember. Something